It is a lonely journey. And it has been for me at times, particularly. But then I'll hear people say, that person's heard of you because you did this, and they're really grateful. I just wish more people would find their feet and their confidence to speak up as well. And people often say, I'm not a doctor, therefore I can't say anything. Yes, you can.
It's actually a good thing you're not a doctor.
It's a good thing you're not a doctor because they're gone. They are the lost generation. Okay, in every way. The first one to be released was Pfizer. Didn't know then that SV40 was in it, but there was good enough reason to suspect that A, this wasn't a typical vaccine, and this was going to cause immense harm. Okay, we knew a lot of the contents, or you should have done. If you're injecting it, if you're saying to someone, I've got your informed consent for this, where did all that go?
Yeah.
I know my head is skipping all over the place here, but I am like, what the happened? Okay. Because the laws, the ethics that determine medicine, medical practice, what we thought, what we were raised on, because you probably went a few years before me, but it was very similar. Informed consent, that was also a legal requirement, should be a lawful requirement. Otherwise, I understood it that it was battery, essentially. Okay. And yet you can say now, retrospectively, that no one knew what they were having injected in them. The people administering it didn't know what they were giving, so there's no informed consent. Then I thought it would matter to the regulators because I thought they regulated stuff. That was naive, wasn't it?
Big time.
You are listening to the Doc Malik podcast. This show is 100% independent and fully funded by listeners like yourself. So if you wish to support Ahmed in all that he is doing, then please subscribe to his channel on Spotify or his Substack. Or simply buy him a coffee with a one-off donation, links to which can be found at docmalik.com. Now, let's get on with the show.
Dude, I can't believe this is happening. Like, this is the first time we've met, yeah?
Yeah.
Dude, I feel like I've known you for ages. Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
What is that all about? Right, listen, off the bat, I just want to tell you, you're looking good.
Thank you.
You're looking healthy.
Thank you.
Like, everybody look at him. He's looking so... Like, dude, there was a time when you're looking a bit pasty.
I know.
You had bags under your eyes. You weren't looking good. You were looking like you put on a bit of weight. But I can tell you right now, looking at you in the flesh, you got a nice little tan going on. You're looking healthy. You're glowing. What's happened? What's happened?
Are we recording right now?
Yeah.
Oh, fucking hell. You should have told me. No, I mean, it's a stressful process. It's a really stressful process. And for me, that started pretty early on, didn't it?
Yeah.
Because the funny thing why I said to you just now, we should have a conversation, is because we're two doctors in the UK coming at this from actually quite different perspectives. Because in 2020, we might have both seen what was going on, but I, as a GP, was the one charged with handing out something very toxic, potentially very deadly, and something that I had every reason to believe would be very harmful. So I had to get my act together really, really quick.
You're talking about the shots. You saw it coming.
No.
You didn't see it coming? I mean, they were talking about shots from the summer of 2020. They were talking about we need to get vaccines to get out of this.
Yeah.
So you must have known it was coming.
Yeah, I knew it was coming, but I still thought they're not going to be this stupid. They're going to pull it. Or, and this is a big or, I thought there was going to be massive pushback from GPs. There would be this unified front of us.
Right.
And I
can you imagine if there was? Can you imagine a parallel universe where
it would have stopped it?
Even 10% of doctors, GPs said, no, we're not having any of this. What would have happened?
It would have stopped it in its tracks. Just like, say, I mean, I think it's a great example, but the NHS 100, I think that was all teed up and something, we had to sort of be a spectator for, if you like. Where they were going to force all the people in the NHS to, like they did the care home workers. They didn't care about the care home workers. You could be vaccine injured after the first jab and then still lose your job because you didn't have two. That's how absurd it was. But even in December 2020. And I think it was probably wishful thinking on my part. I was thinking, this isn't going to happen. This isn't going to happen. And if it does, I'm not going to be the only voice. Or feeling like I was the only voice, because it was a pretty fucking lonely place. We had swear on this podcast.
Yeah.
That's good.
Is
It's
that-
going to beep.
Beep. I mean, do you know what? Some people say, "Oh, you swear," and I'm like, "Yeah, so what?" I had the subscriber say, "I subscribed yesterday, and now I've unsubscribed because you swear and it's not good." I'm like, "Okay, well, thanks." Seriously, if that's your level of support,
Yeah.
like we're in the trenches
Yeah.
fighting the enemy,
Yeah.
and you're like, "Excuse me, please don't swear." You're like, "No,
Pick
you know,
a side.
Jesus, right?" Okay,
Pick a side.
sorry, and carry on. December.
2020. I still thought it was going to be pulled, and it must have got to about the 15th, something like that. And then all it came down to was me saying to my fellow partners, I ain't getting involved with this. You can, and what they'd done is at that time, the first one to be released was Pfizer. Didn't know then that SV40 was in it, but there was good enough reason to suspect that A, this wasn't a typical vaccine, and this was going to cause immense harm. Okay, we knew a lot of the contents, or you should have done. If you're injecting it, if you're saying to someone, I've got your informed consent for this, where did all that go?
Dude, where did that?
I mean, I know my head is skipping all over the place here, but I am like, what the happened? Okay, because the laws, the ethics that determine medicine, medical practice, what we thought, what we were raised on. Because you probably went a few years before me, but it was very similar.
What? Sorry, what? A few years
to medical school.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah, there was ethics then, wasn't there? Medical ethics was taught.
Yeah.
Informed consent. That was also a legal requirement. Should be a lawful requirement. Otherwise, I understood it that it was battery, essentially. Okay. And yet you can say now, retrospectively, that no one knew what they were having injected in them. The people administering it didn't know what they were giving. So there's no informed consent. Then I thought it would matter to the regulators because I thought they regulated stuff. That was naive, wasn't it?
Big time.
Yeah. And then it got to the new year, which would have been in 2021. And the way I was able to get out of it, let's say, by not administering this poison, was that the initial vaccine was the Pfizer one. And it had to be kept at a certain temperature. And so what they were doing was they were basically, the NHS England or Wales or wherever you were, was rounding up patients to send them to regional centres. And then GPs and nurses would go to those centres and do sessions. So they were getting like sessional pay. So it was quite easy for me to say, I'm not going to go to those sessions. I'm going to opt out and I won't get the money. Okay.
How much money was it?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Per session, I mean.
I don't know.
Okay.
I actually don't know. I'd imagine it would have been, the same sort of sessional rate that a GP would get.
And what is that?
Probably about 200, 250 for, a morning or an afternoon.
Okay.
I would have thought. I don't know what. I imagine the nurses would get their normal hourly rate. They would be the ones administering them by and large. And then, of course, you had people that weren't even healthcare workers called vaccinators at some point, didn't you?
And didn't they just ditch the whole refrigeration business at some point?
Must have done.
Because you don't have any of that now.
No.
Minus 70 degrees or whatever. Like,
yeah.
What's happened to all that?
I don't know.
Like,
The thing was, I didn't stick around. Couldn't stick around.
Right, listen, I'm going to go back in time a little bit.
Mm.
You're how old now?
Too old, 45.
When did you go to med school?
99, so I was 19.
So 1999 to
2004.
2004. I was 93 to 98.
Mm.
And what med school did you go to?
Cardiff.
Cardiff.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I need you to speak up a little bit, project your
Yeah,
voice.
they were pretty good. I don't know what it's like now, but they were the medical school which were better for working class.
Have you got a working class background?
Yeah.
Well, like, what did your mum and dad do?
My mum was a nurse,
Okay.
and my dad was an ambulance man. Long before paramedic training really came in.
Okay.
So they were technicians. I think he got basically a Red Cross badge back in the 1960s or something. He's approaching his late 80s now.
Okay. And where did you grow up?
Southampton.
Southampton. Right.
Yeah.
So you work your socks off, you get into med school, and you always wanted to be a GP?
No. I initially started surgical training, but you have to move around a lot there,
Oh, yeah.
don't you? You have, I mean,
All over the place.
you're all over the place. Yeah.
There's no stability.
There's no stability. And I thought that being a GP would give me, you'd see a generalist sort of population and you'd see a range of conditions. And you do have greater control over your working life. Whereas to be a surgeon, you've got to publish and go to
sacrifice every weekend to do the research, to go to extra lists and fill up your logbook so that you got cases under your,
That wasn't me.
It was hard work.
That wasn't me. And then there was all those revisions to surgical training where it was getting really difficult to do the basic surgical stuff, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Everything was being moved up the ladder whilst everything was becoming subspecialized.
Oh, I call it riding the wave of shit. So what I mean by that is, as a med student, I'd go around and see all the patients and examine them, take a history, because I would get quizzed in theater. And if I had any intention of getting scrubbing up, it was like, well, tell me this history, tell me the story. So you needed to know as a med student. Then as a junior doctor, I was still doing the history taking and the examination and consenting, because if I wanted to operate and close the wound, I needed to have prepped all the patients, consented them, marked their limbs and blah, 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 blah. So I was doing that as a house officer. And then as a junior doctor, I was still doing that, because now the junior doctors were not allowed to do that. They were had protected time and they didn't need to come in early, and they had their working hour directive. So now I'm still doing the, consent, examination, blah, 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 and operating. And then as a registrar, now the junior doctors below me, they're not even allowed to do all that kind of stuff because they have to be protected and they have teaching. And so I'm now a registrar and I'm still doing all the grunt work, examining, taking history, marking the limb, and then going to theatre. And then as a consultant, my registrars need the teaching, the protected time. They come in at 8, they don't come in early. So, you would go to the meetings and say, tell me the history about this patient who's coming overnight, and no one had a clue. Oh, they've gone home now. Oh, I just came on. I don't know anything. So again, as a consultant, I was going around, seeing all the patients, taking the history. So nothing's ever changed. This idea that as a consultant, you just lord over it and everyone else does everything. No, I just rode the wave of shit and kept doing all the grunt work throughout my training.
I'm pretty sure that's got even worse now.
I'm sure it has. So why did you want to get into medicine?
Well, I
mean, you clearly didn't go in with the intention of being the Mr. Quack doctor. So, what is it?
I clearly didn't go in with the idea of detonating my career.
Really?
Mid-career.
Are you sure?
And there's probably a bit of naivety there, but I still thought the system cared more than it has shown. I mean, bear in mind, we're having this conversation in 2025. This started in 2020.
Yeah.
This awakening. But why did I want to go to med school? I thought ER was pretty freaking cool back in the day.
Yeah, me too.
I must have been about 13, 14. And then my dad, was probably heavily influential. I looked up to him a lot, still do. And he would tell me about his emergencies and all of those kind of things. But he was like, son, you've got to have a profession. You're not going into what I've done, And, I was of the academic attainment where I could, could do that. And then I got 4 offers for medical school, which is, that's pretty good going, I think.
Yeah.
From not being in private school, or you're parents being a doctor or anything like that.
Same, buddy.
Yeah, exactly.
We never got any helping hands, filling out forms and practice for interviews. I remember everyone else getting coaching because their mums and dads were doctors, and it was hard for us.
Yeah,
coming up from the bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Cardiff actually liked that. I had no idea what it's like now, and they probably don't want to think of me as some Illumini student.
One day, maybe there'll be a massive statue of Dr. Sam White.
I wouldn't want it. But I seriously wouldn't. And I never wanted to be well known or anything, or relatively well known. Say a joke Z-lister or something. I did not do this in any shape or form because I wanted the attention on me, because I'm an introvert. I mean, you've had difficulty getting me on this show, haven't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, as in like you, totally like blowing me off and like just last minute cancellations.
Well, the last time was actually...
Come on, let's be honest now. It's like we booked it like 3-4 times. It's like, oh, I can't make it. Something's come up. I'm not feeling well, blah, blah, blah. But it's all legit, man. I get it. Listen, everything happens for a reason. When it was meant to be, it was meant to be. It's meant to be today.
Yeah, I did a lot of interviews in 2022, 2021 as well. And that was something I had to... The reason I was doing that was not for my benefit. It's not because I enjoyed giving interviews. It was because I was relaying my concerns, and I wanted people to hear that.
Yeah.
Because they weren't going to hear it from many other places.
Well, there was only, if I remember correctly, there was only like you and Mohammed Adil, really, at the time, early on, straight off the bat, that were quite vocal. And then other people, Jerry Waters, Anne McCloskey, Jane Donahan, Sarah Myhill, they all got the rap.
Yeah.
And Dave Cartland picked up around about the time I started speaking up. So there's kind of like waves of us.
Yeah.
As you all get picked off, a few more people. But since I've spoken out, I don't really think of anyone else.
Not in this country.
Not in this country.
No.
I think I'm like that's a bad example of me then. Like, what have I done that's put off everyone else?
Did you manage to somehow, because you managed to leave the GMC before they knew?
No. So basically, I will come back to me in a second. But dude,
I'm deflecting.
Yeah, deflect. No, let's go back to like your GP practice now. You're a GP partner, right? You're
only within a few weeks.
All right, okay.
Yeah, so
so that's great. But so this is what you've been working all this time for, to become, partner in the practice.
Well, I didn't want to be a partner.
You didn't?
No.
Why not?
Well, I was quite happy as a locum. I had been a partner when I first qualified, because I've been a GP about 11 years. And then I went to locuming for a long time, and I did A&E work as well. And it must have been a few months before, so the end of 2019, I was at surgery, and one of the partners said, we've had some nice feedback about you. Okay. Would you like to join us? And when I think I initially said no, and they probably wish I had done now. Definitely. But when I looked at it, they were more of an old-fashioned GP surgery, in that GPs still had their own lists. Patients were encouraged to see the same GP.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, which is unheard of.
Yeah, it's all changed.
So I thought, if I am going to do a partnership, I thought, for a while about it. And so I called them back, and then I went for an interview. And then I'd literally just started. I might have been there 6 weeks. And then the pandemic was announced. And it was, the surgery doors were closed. We were no longer allowed to see people with respiratory infections lest we die. And there was going to be a shortage of palliative care drugs as well. My memory is a little fuzzier all around that time, because so much was happening, and it was a very, very confusing time. Because I remember volunteering to work at what was called a COVID hub, and there's no equipment there. It was basically a shutdown GP surgery with all of the gowns and masks and things. Okay. So if a doctor on the telephone or 111 suspected someone might have COVID, they would be seen at this centre. And I remember it well, the first day I did that, it was Good Friday, which would have been 2020. Beautiful weather. They let us have some really good weather back then.
They did.
And I didn't see a single patient. So, it's strange. Everyone's losing their jobs, their businesses, actually their homes. And I haven't seen a single patient. So I'll do it one more time. I did it another time. And I didn't see anyone with respiratory symptoms. I remember having an argument with one GP because he wanted me. This came out as part of the guidance that they weren't allowed to look in anyone's mouth. You know how a GP might examine your mouth, see if you've got tonsillitis?
Tongue depressor, all that. I mean, that's basic 101.
Yeah. But they were only allowed to look at them in these centres where you had all the, the space Power Rangers, spacesuits on. Completely pointless. And this patient had a sore throat for 3 months. And I said, you're not seriously asking me to bring this woman all the way down to what was a regional centre, so she might have to travel, I don't know, it wasn't her local surgery anyway, just so I can examine her, look in her mouth, send her back to you so you can make an urgent referral to ENT in case she's got, carcinoma. She needs a nasal endoscopy, panendoscopy, whatever. He's like, yeah, that's the rules. Twat.
Speak up, buddy.
Yeah, I was swearing then.
You can swear. It's all right, dude.
Are you sure?
Yes, dude.
That's one of the things I got in trouble for, I think.
You can swear, my friend. Just relax. No one's coming after you now, okay? I know you're probably suffering a little bit of PTSD. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. You're going to get that.
We'll talk about that in a sec. All right, but listen, back to you being a GP. What were you like? Like, remember, the QoF systems have come in. The payment structures from 1998 and 2002 or whatever.
Yeah.
Now they're telling you need to have a certain number of people vaccinated, certain number of people on PPI, certain number of people on statins.
Well, that was the good thing about being a locum. You didn't have to get involved with those politics.
Right.
And I'd literally only been a partner for 6 weeks.
Right.
And then the politics was all COVID. Everything went out the window. So
you didn't get to see all that QoF business and hitting your target. You didn't get.
I knew about it.
You didn't get under pressure that you need to practice in a certain way and follow the guidelines, or do you see what I mean? Like, do you look back now and think, oh my God, so much of GP medicine is just not individualized, patient-centered care. It's just protocol-driven.
It's crap.
It's okay.
It's crap.
Why is it crap?
Well, you heard Dr. Mighty Hill talk about this a lot.
I know, but I want to hear from you. Why do you think it's crap?
This is about symptom suppression, and it is about guidelines. I mean, look at statins. Are they a good drug? Your brain's made of cholesterol. You need to make your steroid hormones. You want to wipe those out with the precursor, cholesterol? Not a good idea. Never have been a good idea. And you're going to deplete your coenzyme Q10. You might need that for your mitochondria. You're going to feel rubbish. Then you're going to get type 2 diabetes. Then you're going to get put on metformin. And then
Alzheimer's.
Cognitive decline as well. Yeah. So you look back on it, and it partly came about through my own awakening. And luckily, I had the fallback of knowledge and study of functional medicine beforehand. And I think probably there was a time when I was trying to reconcile the two. There's a place for both. And there is still a place for allopathic medicine. If you've got sepsis or trauma, where do you want to go? Okay. But in terms of primary care, if you think about the emphasis in primary care, it's on prevention. Okay. Now, what does that mean? Does that mean you have a good diet? One which is going to keep you in shape, fit? Or does it mean you have a load of vaccines? That's what they mean by preventative care. Okay. Now, what COVID has done, and I heard you say the other day, I'm glad COVID happened, Okay. Because it might be that and it didn't matter so much for you perhaps down the orthopedic surgical route, but it did matter. So for me, it's not just this vaccine that's bad. It opens up a whole rabbit hole for you, doesn't it? Okay. And there might still be people listening who think it's just this one. It's not a vaccine. It's a gene therapy. They've added all this other stuff. But we've seen this massive explosion in autoimmune disease, allergy, type 2 diabetes, all these kind of conditions we associate with living in the West. It's not just that. I mean, the microbiome's been affected, the food supply chain, everything. But do you really want children, babies, being shot up with aluminium and dimerosol, mercury? Probably not a good idea. Why did we ever go along with that?
You tell me. So when you're practicing as a GP, like, were you an anti-vaxxer? Like, were you this crazy conspiracy theorist then, or were you just relatively mainstream? Like, you talked about functional medicine.
I was getting wackier or wackier. Yeah.
Like the functional medicine. Did you start doing that before COVID? Did you start looking into that?
Not practicing, but it's what helped get me better. And I think it would have been about 2018. I'd struggled with chronic fatigue syndrome. And I've written a blog on my website about
I know
this.
you had that. Yeah.
And I sort of stumbled across the work of the International Lyme and Associated Disease Society, and someone in there directed me to a physician in London who was a consultant, but his main thing was really actually functional medicine. And I went to see it, and I said, how do you know all this stuff? Because you have all this biochemistry, mitochondrial science, and all this stuff. How do you know all this? And I don't. And he said, well, a few years ago, I was just like you. And I would suggest when we get you better, you do what I've done and you learn from, it was the Institute of Functional Medicine. And you probably diversify. Okay, so I was already kind of looking that way. But it was never the decision to resign, what came in early 2021 was out of necessity. I couldn't be there.
Why couldn't you be there?
I had patients coming in saying they'd been in bed for a week, not because I'd already said I didn't want to be involved, after they had their vaccine. And I'd say, well, why did you have your vaccine? You're 50 years old. I want to go on holiday. That was the commonest thing.
Yeah.
Apart from the elderly. And the elderly is unfortunately a very different story, particularly if they're in care homes. And we're seeing the first, I guess, test case now with what happened with midazolam. And hence this alleged shortage of procurement of end-of-life drugs. But the commonest reason I was finding, particularly in middle-aged people, was saying, "Oh, I've got a sore arm," blah, 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 was that they wanted to go on holiday. Like I say, you could have let government, the NHS, dictate to you whether or not you can go on holiday, and you're going to make a health decision based on that. This is a health decision. Okay? It's not a very good one. And I would say to them, but that's not a health reason, just wanting to go on holiday. And I knew that I was going to be, it was getting to the point where I was being undermined, shall we say, by staff, not by doctors. There was only 3-4 other partners there. I wasn't walking around with a nappy on my face just to go and get a cup of coffee, for instance. There's no patients in the surgery. It was empty. The nurses were going out to the car park at one point to give vitamin B12 injections. It was insanity. Those chickens.
No, it's fine. It's insanity.
It was.
Okay, I know I keep going back in time. I'm really sorry.
Right.
Back last time, med school. I think what you're talking about, the whole functional medicine, mitochondria, yeah, it's shocking how much we don't get taught. You know, you turned your health around and that's what made you realize about what's true health. Same with me, buddy. You know, I got to a point where I was diabetic, hypertensive, had fatty liver, really kind of unwell.
Yeah.
And, you know, I was offered things like metformin and whatnot. And it was my dad going, "What the hell are you doing, son? You look like shit. You work 6 days a week, never sleep, eating late at night, kids are asleep, wife's asleep. What are you doing?" And he was dying at the time. And he actually said, "Look, take it from me, I'm dying. You know, this is not the way to live. You know, sort yourself out. Otherwise, you know, you'll be like me." And that was my wake-up call. My wife found out about intermittent fasting, and then we stopped using seed oils, fluoride in the water, distilling, high protein, high animal fat, natural fat and meat, you know, diet, organic, exercise, sleep. Suddenly, boom, everything's
Falls into place.
It was like, what? And, you know, you learn more of the science behind it all and the science behind intermittent fasting. And I'm not going to repeat all that stuff here. But and then you learn about, you know, mitochondrial health. Like you said, you know, statins. It's not even the precursor cholesterol. It's like the main tributary of a river. And like there's 3 rivers. And then a stream off a river, that's cholesterol. So you wipe out so much for the rest of the body. That's why you have all the side effects, the muscle aches and the cognitive decline and the hormone issues. Like, it's just statins is so bad. It's unbelievable. Yeah. Like you have a problem in a stream, but you're going to dam like 100 miles up. Like what? It's just insane. Yeah. But you learn about mitochondrial health. You remember the electron transport chain and everything and the role of magnesium. And it's just, it goes on and you just think, wow, we were not really taught this, or the emphasis wasn't there.
No.
And we weren't even really taught, I wasn't taught anything about vaccines. I want to ask you, in your med school, 5 years of med school, how many lectures on vaccines did you have?
I knew you were going to ask that today.
Okay.
Because you're an arsehole. You know. But I've been thinking about it. And we weren't taught about vaccines per se, other than, you know, you might use this, you know, attenuated virus and then it provokes an immune response. We were taught the schedule. Yeah, so at this many months. So there was never any opportune moment to question, hang on, why are we giving these? There wasn't vaccine science, because there isn't any.
What about vaccine history? Did you know vaccines were taking place 200 years ago in the early 1800s? Do you know there's mandatory vaccinations at several points in history and revolts and rebellions here in the UK and elsewhere in the world? Did you know about that?
I do now.
Were you taught that in med school?
No.
Were you told about the ingredients of vaccines and what adjuvants are? No. You need to speak up. People can't hear. Some people are watching this. The thing is, and not everybody's watching the video, so they can't see.
Oh, okay. No, definitely not.
Well,
no, I mean,
were you taught about any studies and how the studies are done?
There aren't any. There's nothing to teach you.
So when you came out of med school,
if they taught us, right, if they said this has got aluminium in it, you know, I test for these toxic heavy metals in people now and I say, we've got to get rid of this from your body. Okay. Same with mercury, you know, dentistry as well. You've got a mouthful of amalgams.
Yeah.
Okay. So I often have to work with a biological dentist, you know, before we can do all that. If they'd have taught us about it, we probably would have questioned it a little bit more.
Right. So the next thing is, tell me the truth. Did you come out of med school going, vaccines are great. Yeah, I'll take the vaccines and no questions. Did you have that much? Because I did.
Yeah. I mean, we had to get in.
Yeah.
I was after you, but I remember Sarah saying she left because of, I didn't think anything of it at 18 or 19, but we had to have Hep B and the course of Hep B.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, so you too. Okay, yeah.
It was just insane. So what I find incredible is that we go through this system of trauma-based mind control, right? Like army recruits beaten down and then rewritten on. And we get taught nothing about vaccines. We come out as a profession going, we worship the holy vaccine. It's like, what?
Yeah.
We do not question the holy vaccine. It's a religion. It's a cult.
That's still happening now.
It's a cult.
That's what I mean about this being 2025. Okay. And the other thing I want to add is if you go back to 2020, 2021, when I was kind of voicing concerns, I kept saying, this is not a vaccine. And this is the reason why. I'm kind of glad they've lumped it in with vaccines
Me
now.
too.
Because now it makes everyone go back and say, oh, that's a vaccine. So's this one. Should we question that one as well?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Okay.
Amen.
The reason they did it, obviously, was the indemnity. And the reason they gave it to children, apparently, is that enhances the indemnity, which is heinous.
It's more than just indemnity. I agree it's the indemnity, but just imagine this conversation. Hello, I'm the government. What's your name?
Sam?
Hi, Sam. I'd like to give you an experimental genetic bioweapon.
Yeah.
Would you like one?
Hands up, please. Yeah.
Hands up, please.
Love it.
Loving it?
Right here.
Right in your ass.
Yeah.
And Sam, I'd like to give you 3, please.
No problem. Can I go on holiday then?
Absolutely. I think, if they were fully open about it, experimental genetic bioweapon, people would have been like, go to hell.
But who should have been also open about it? People giving it.
Yeah, for sure. That's why, like Elizabeth Hart says, there was no informed consent.
Yeah.
No one, not one person in the billions that took the shot had informed consent. Gave informed consent.
No one can claim that.
Yeah, no one gave informed consent. But what I'm saying, so they use the word vaccine, which over the decades has been cleverly crafted into a protected entity, which is a golden cow, which you cannot criticize. You can't criticize the holy golden cow of vaccines. Okay?
No, you said holy. It is a religion.
It is a religion.
Yeah.
It's holy. It's a cult.
Cult.
Right? So you can't question vaccines. If you question vaccines, you're like, are you an anti-vaxxer? Like the number of people, like when I was like not wanting my flu shot and people would be like, why are you not having flu? I was like, yeah, I'm not sure about this vaccine. You're not an anti-vaxxer, are you? I'm like, no, it's just a flu vaccine. I'm not. I've had all the other vaccines. Yeah. And it was like, but the way to shut you down was to say, are you an anti-vaxxer? So what I'm saying is, not only was it the indemnity, the word vaccine is so cleverly crafted into this protected thing that you can't question, that you'll be ridiculed if you do question it. So they applied that sticker on this genetic bioweapon because it basically gave them the shield. So as well as immunity, it was like the shield from criticism. Because if you dared to say anything about it, it was like, are you an anti-vaxxer? How? Are you a crazy person? Are you a flat earther? Are you a nut job? Yeah, quack, Dr. Quack. Here we come. So it was very clever, but like you, I was like, it's not a vaccine. But now I'm like, it's a goddamn vaccine.
Yeah.
Right? So this is a pile of steaming horse shit. Maybe the rest is too.
Put it in there.
Put it in there. Lump it in there. Well done. Good for you. But that's why I think about it.
Yeah.
Another thing, in med school, did you ever at any point go, hey folks, young doctors, we've done some seriously dumb shit over the centuries as doctors, as physicians. We've done all this bloodletting until they're almost dead. We gave them mercury and arsenic. We gave cocaine. We did trepanning of the brain, put a little thing up the nose and scrambled the brains. We did lobotomies and even got a Nobel Prize for it. We did severe electroconvulsive therapy. I mean, we've done some...
They're still doing that one.
Yeah. We've done some crazy, dumb ass shit. All right? And even up until quite recently, and now we still are, like, breast implants, like the metal hip fiasco, you name it, so much. Guys, young medical students, have a little bit of humility. Like even today we might be doing dumbass shit, and tomorrow we might be doing some dumbass shit. Be wary. Don't have the hubris. We've made mistakes in the past. We need to be vigilant. What are we doing wrong today and what are we doing wrong tomorrow so that we can be the best doctors and we don't harm our patients. Did you ever have a lecture like that?
Must have slept through that one as well.
You pretty much slept through all of it, didn't you?
Yeah. It was a snoozy time. No, of course we didn't. And you wouldn't survive medical school now as an 18-year-old. Unless you just go along with everything. And part of that is because there's so much volume. If you remember.
Yeah.
There's so much volume. There's no...
time to think.
Little application of that knowledge. And then there's an exam at the end of the week on that, acquired knowledge. And then, of course, you qualify. realize that you don't know how to do the basics, and your first on-call weekend is going to be pretty scary. And you're just thrown in at the deep end in your early 20s, aren't you?
100%. And you're in debt.
Managing 6 wards or whatever at the weekends. Because we were still at that point where the consultant wasn't in on the weekends. Or in surgery, they would come in and do a ward round and then go home. It was still like that.
Yeah. It's changed quite a bit.
That's kind of changed now. And they're all working shifts, aren't they?
Yeah, there's no teamwork.
So it's all about handover. Yeah, there's no continuity. So I was kind of in that in-between era where there was still a team, and then it was moving over to shift pattern work as I was probably moving out more out of hospital.
Yeah, it's a disaster.
Yeah.
It's an absolute disaster.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's go back to COVID then. So now it's 2021. Vaccines are being rolled out. Is that when you resigned?
Yeah, I handed in my resignation February 2021.
That's quite early then.
I haven't published my resignation letter yet. Maybe I will do if I write my memoirs one day or something.
What did you write?
Fucking scam. Big words. No, I wrote about 3 pages. I wrote about lockdowns. I wrote about masks because I'd been pulled up on masks. I had emails saying I was scaring the staff by not wearing a mask.
Oh, you bad person.
Yeah, a few months earlier.
Are you mask phobic?
I was. Yeah.
You mask phobic?
I just said I think the agenda behind a mask, I call it a face nappy now because fuck all if for a respiratory infection. There was perhaps some reason why you might wear one in theatre.
Yeah.
But I even found I remember finding a study from the 1980s where there was one surgeon who'd decided for 6 months he wouldn't wear masks because his post-op infection rate halved. And I'd actually included that in my appraisal in 2020. I wrote it all down and I said, I'm not going to be on board with this. You guys crack on. And I'm leaving to do functional medicine. And they said, what's that? What's functional medicine? And there was some disappointment among the other doctors initially, because at this point, I hadn't caused the shitstorm that I caused a few months later to embarrass them. This was me resigning in the respectful, politeful way that, one would. And I'd been there less than a year at that point. But I just said, I just can't go along with this.
Were you the youngest doctor?
Yeah.
Were you not disappointed in the fact that these are older, wiser doctors? They should know medical ethics. They should know how to do things.
What really got me was they were first in line to get their jabs.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, they'd come in, because I'd hear them in my room and say, oh, my arm is sore.
Fear was quite crazy. The boomer generation really, I think, let us down.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, guys.
Where there's no resistance there.
No resistance.
They had it good in so many ways, financially, all of that. But
they really did. I mean, like Paul Hobday was here, and he's a great guy. He's written about the scam of the NHS and everything. But I pulled him up, and in credit to him, he admitted he was not right, saying it's all because it's private healthcare, it's private health, private doctors, private surgeons are the problem. I explained to him actually this deep endemic problems with the NHS and its centralised healthcare system, and it's fundamentally corrupt, and it always will be corrupt.
Yeah.
And it was always only going to go one direction.
Yeah.
And the reason why the NHS was good in the beginning was because it was still mainly the way it was before the NHS came in. It was centralised. It was decentralised hospitals doing their own stuff with very few management. So, you were getting the spillover of what things were like before the NHS, but the NHS just allowed those rules and stipulations to come in and draconian laws. And so the NHS, the hospitals and this doctors and the way medicine was practiced just got worse and worse with time. Yeah. And it wasn't because, the bad politicians came and privatized everything. No, it was always going that direction. It's all about centralized healthcare, diktats from above, not about the patient, not about that individual patient, not about true health. And it was always going to get corrupted by people and by corporations and by pharma lobby. And I was trying to say that to Paul Hopty, and he was like, oh, well, and these younger doctors, and I pulled him up on that. I said, no, dude, people your generation are the problem. Like, you got the money, you took the money, you sold out on the contracts in 1990 and early 2000. You accepted the money in return for trading from being a clinician to a technician, just handing out pills and following the guidelines and the protocols and being an automaton. You did that, not the young doctors. You didn't pay student loans or anything like that when you were in med school. You did it. You got a grant. So you came out with no debt. You had full autonomy. You practiced the way you wanted to. And the government, like at the time of the NHS, Bevan said, I stuffed their mouths with gold. They stuffed gold in your mouths, and you took it, and you took your fancy gold-plated pensions, which he has, and he admits he did. And he retired in his 50s, and he's got a massive pension of about 100,000 a year, right? Yes. And,
I don't think I'll be getting mine.
And what I'm trying to say is, like, when they saw medicine and ethics and the art of medicine being eroded, they just watched it and went, it's not our problem. The next generation can deal with it. And I know orthopedic consultants who spoke like this. I know. And I know GPs who thought like this. They were like, you know what? It's been good for us. We've got the money. We've got our mortgages paid off. We've got a beautiful pension. Yeah, let the next bunch deal with it. And the next bunch came along, and guess what? They had to go to med school and pay for their med school fees, and they're totally indebted up to their eyeballs. They don't know any better. They're totally ignorant. They're looking at their seniors for inspiration and guidance, who've basically just shat on them. And then, like, you're like upset that these young doctors aren't fighting back and resisting. Don't give me that. I'm talking about this to all the senior doctors. I'm not upset with the younger generation of doctors. They don't know any better. They've been brainwashed. They've been manipulated. They've had no figureheads, no heroes, no leaders, no inspirations, no real mentors. And they've been fucked by the system, and mainly by the senior doctors who had it good and supervised the demolition of medicine and the NHS and everything else. Sorry for this rant, but I'm really upset with them, dude. Really upset with them.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody. Sorry for the interruption. I don't know why I'm saying sorry. It's my podcast, and I need to advertise my consultation service. As you know, folks, I don't have any sponsors. How many big podcasts do you know of that don't have any sponsors? I'm supported by you, the tiny percentage who subscribe to my Substack or my Spotify paid channel. So to those few of you, I just want to say thank you so much. I love you. And hopefully the ones of you who are listening for free, you're still helping by rating the show 5 stars and spreading it on your social media far and wide, whether it's on Facebook, Instagram, your WhatsApp groups or whatever. Please introduce them to my podcast. Hopefully some of them will subscribe to my channel. But I also want to take this opportunity to talk about my one-to-one consultation service I'm offering. Now, I'm not acting as your doctor or diagnosing and treating you, in which case some of you might be thinking, well, what the heck are you doing? What kind of consultation is this? Folks, if only you knew, I'm about advocating for your healthcare needs. I'm about educating you, empowering you, helping you navigate the minefield that's the sick care system. I'm helping you ask the right questions from your doctor, to get the best out of your consultation, to answer your unanswered questions, and to give you a second opinion, and so much more. I can prepare you for surgery. I can give you alternative views on different treatments. I can introduce you to other healthcare practitioners. But listen, enough of what I'm saying. Let's look at 2 reviews from today. There's Matt. I've learned so much from Doc Malik by listening to his podcast interviews. I felt he could help me with my personal health and well-being during a stressful time in my life, and he didn't disappoint. He offered me some great advice concerning a wide range of things, including diet, lifestyle, sleep, physical activity, and trauma, and he also guided me to other sources of help. He is a fountain of wisdom with a massive heart and has stepped up to help people properly in the way that your typical doctor does not. Thank you, Doc. Well, no, thank you, Matt, for a lovely review. And then secondly, Eloise. Not only does this man have what appears to me an incredible depth and breadth of true knowledge, he has the biggest heart. I felt so genuinely cared for around sensitive health issues that I may not ordinarily wish to speak about. A consultation is a trusted, safe space, which was essential for me as I've tried everything under the sun and I'm aware of my own blocks. This straight talking, caring approach ensures you leave the consultation with a no-nonsense, clear plan on what's important to change, how to go about it, and recommendations of other specialists in the field where Doc Malik believes you would benefit from. He is considerate of costs, so offers multiple ways to go about protocols to get the best for you without spending a fortune unnecessarily. The mental relief I got from this consultation was in fact priceless. So there you go, folks. Don't take it from me. If this resonates with you, check out my website, docmalik.com/consultations. Have a look. And if you think that, there's a calling there, book a consultation with me. Right, folks. Back to the show. Thank you for taking time to listen. I love you loads, so much. And honestly, for the recent listeners who've left Apple reviews and 5-star ratings on Spotify, I see you. I see what you've done, and I'm very grateful. Thank you, folks. God bless. Bye-bye.
It correlates well with the complete loss of autonomy that a consultant or GP is meant to have. Because I remember reading that it's a consultant or a GP who has autonomous care of their patient.
Yeah.
No, you don't. No, you don't. Because that person in front of you, you've got a pop-up on you. You're being told what to prescribe based on, like we said, cholesterol, based on HbA.
Explain that pop-up. People listening won't have a clue what you're talking about, like especially in America and Australia. I know what you're talking about, but just explain in graphic detail what you mean by that pop-up. So I come into your room.
Yeah. There might be, and this is where the Labour government in 2004, and it's all one government, isn't it?
It's all one government.
We don't have to pretend. Okay, good.
No, but my vote matters, Sam. Get out there and vote. Like, seriously.
I loved that drawing that Bob Moran did. Do you remember?
Can't you tell I love what he does?
Yeah, no, I was thinking that because you've had him on here.
Yeah,
it's great.
Epic.
Great guy, yeah. But it was just before the last election that he did that illustration. Someone posting their vote in the proverbial. So the pop-up would be, and I don't know because I wasn't qualified then as such, certainly in general practice, but the Labour government in 2004 introduced the points is prizes kind of scheme. And that's when GP earnings went up significantly because it was always that consultants generally earned more and they wanted to make it more in line with consultants. That's what we were told. Make general practice more attractive. And it did. I don't think it is now necessarily, but I don't think any medical specialty necessarily is. But the pop-up would be a reminder
on the screen, on your computer screen.
Do the blood pressure, tick the box, have you advised about smoking? So I'm going back a few, because I've been gone, you've got to remember I've been gone a good few years now. And there would almost certainly be one reminder about booster. I bet that's there. Probably, well, it must be on 8, 9, 10. I don't know anymore. Check blood pressure, start statin. Okay, because the total cholesterol is above 5. You want it above 5, but it doesn't matter. That's the pop-up.
So I got told, I got told this, sorry for interrupting, I got told this by a GP.
Yeah.
I was giving a talk once. She came up to me afterwards. She went 100% right. She goes, look, I've just retired now. A patient would come to me with toothache or a headache or whatever. But the pop-up said I need to prescribe them statin. And like I had to make sure they left with a statin. Because otherwise what happens is at the end of the month, you get pulled up and like, why are you below the quota? Why are you below like 80% prescription for this age group? Like you're not hitting the targets. And because you're not hitting the targets, the practice doesn't get their bonus or quaff. It was just insane. I was like, are you serious?
Yeah.
So regardless of what the patient came in for, this 7-minute consultation, they might have one other, but your job was then to make sure they took their statin.
Yeah. So the patient comes in with a reason they want to see you, invariably. It's not because they might want to discuss statin because, they've seen it somewhere else, but that's not their agenda. Okay? And your autonomy should be that I'm there for that patient, that person sitting in front of me. Okay, which is why I'm kind of glad of what I do now, because it is, well, you spend, a good chunk of this time, this first consultation, telling me why you're here. And it's usually because they've been around the houses. Okay, yeah, our GP wants to give me this, give me this, give me this. Why? Let's dig into that. But yeah, I don't know if it was quarterly, because I wasn't a partner very long, obviously. But by the end of the QOF year, whenever that was for each surgery, so it's the quality outcomes framework, they would need to get the numbers up, even if that meant the GP getting on the phone to say, we need you in to get your blood pressure checked, or we need you in to get you on a statin because of this. And then you can tick that box, and then you get paid accordingly. And you had to get like a percentage overall of patients. Same with diabetes was a big one. So the percentage of patients with their longer term, glucose, what we call glycosylated hemoglobin, less than. And if not, then they must be put on this drug. This drug. It's endless.
Show me the incentive and I'll show you the outcome.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, right. So now, like, you've handed in your resignation. Everything's great. When did you start becoming this batshit crazy tinfoil hatter and start, screaming and ranting? Because, you're a crazy doctor, aren't you?
I was getting crazier and crazier. And I was getting.
By the way, I'm being sarcastic. No, not to you. I'm saying to anyone listening.
Yeah, I know you are. I know you are. But it was the reality of how I was treated. I still wasn't going to go and make my coffee with a mask on. Go to the toilet with a mask on.
So you resigned, but you're still working?
No.
So what were you doing?
I called in sick. Got to me. And they used that. So I didn't see the GP, but I did an online consult. And I asked for them to put stress, anxiety. Because as a partner, which I was then, you'd have to work 6 months. And there's no way I was taking 6 months of that.
You'd have to work 6 months, sorry?
Notice, yeah.
6 months notice?
Yeah.
You had to give 6 months notice? That's a long time.
Yeah, so that would have brought me to the August time, right? Okay, a lot would have happened in that time. So I spoke to one of the partners and I said, I can't be around here anymore. It's just, I'm not sleeping. It's the truth. I'm just being honest. I've never not been honest about what I experience personally. And that pales in significance compared to people who've been injured or worse. But I couldn't work my notice period. Okay. And I wasn't going to continue and play that game and effectively lie to people, because that's what it would have entailed. Okay, I wasn't going to these vaccine centres, but there would have been pop-ups for me during those 6 months saying, get them boosted or get them whatever.
Dude, I get it. Listen, like I ended up leaving December 2022, right?
Yeah.
And I was sick to death of it. I had started my podcast 6 months earlier, like May, June 22. And I couldn't wait for my clinic to finish so I could come home and record a podcast. I was enjoying my podcast more. I'd be at my desk in the private hospital in a pop-up window, or the screensaver would be like, get your vaccination, get your flu vaccination, get your COVID booster. It was like, it was in my face the whole time. I'd have the infection control nurse going, have you had your booster? Are you making sure you're using your alcohol gel and your mask and all this kind of stuff?
Yeah.
I'm seeing vaccine injuries, and I'm trying to tell my patients it's there all the time. My colleagues all think I'm a nut job because they know I'm speaking out against it.
Yeah.
And then some of them are admitting to me that I'm right, but they're not willing to speak up.
Yeah, I never got that.
And I'm just walking around feeling this whole system is just evil. It's fake. It's a lie. I felt disgusted. I just hated it. And this podcast was like my my refuge, where I could just get things off my chest and speak the truth, and people could speak the truth. You know, it was mentally really good for me, because mentally I went for a really tough time at 2020. I was locked in my garden. I couldn't go out to work, couldn't do anything. You know, I'm self-employed.
Yeah.
I wasn't working.
No.
My colleagues were having barbecues and loving it. They were on full pay, not doing any work. You know, didn't give it. I would say to them, you're upset about your patients and your waiting list. I'm like, not my problem. This was the attitude of doctors.
That was it. Yeah, that was it.
They didn't give a
no.
Like, and this is why I'm kind of resentful against the medical profession. I just feel like they've got all this respect, and it's not due. These people don't do. Remember, I've said this a million times, but I don't know if you've heard it. This idea of first do no harm to the patient is absolute bollocks. It's first do no harm to my medical license and registration, my career, my income, my pension, my mortgage, my private kids, my private schooling for the kids, my holidays, you know, my fancy car, my mistress. And then maybe
my kids
first
at private school.
Yeah. And then maybe first do no harm, but as long as I'm following the guidelines and protocols. That's what first do no harm means now. People, and they're gaslighting patients. They know something's not right. They're not taking the vaccinations anymore. The uptake is so low. But they don't come out and say, oh, these are bad, by the way. We've seen problems. We're not happy taking them. They just stay quiet. They're like, yeah, we'll just keep injecting the public. It's like how, what's wrong with these people? But then again, like a lot, because, you know, I was watching Jaws with the kids over the weekend, right? And I'm looking at them like, kids, look at everybody in the beach. What can you tell? And they're like, they're very skinny. I'm like, no, they're very healthy. They're healthy. It's like when we go to the beach in Cornwall, does it look like that? No, Daddy, no, it doesn't. Yeah, because no, most people look like beached whales now. And most healthcare workers are lumpy dumpy. Nurses, doctors, they don't know what it means to be healthy.
Not the epitome of health, I believe.
It's not like they're not walking the walk. You know, they're talking the talk about, oh, we're going to make, you know, health. Like, just have a look in the mirror. It's like, so much wrong with the medical system. And I think the registration licensing system is a big component. The medical school indoctrination is a big component. But doctors, to be honest, either are blindly following and indoctrinated in the cult that they're in, okay? Or they are petrified of speaking up and getting shot down like you and me. So they just stay quiet.
I think I served a useful role in that. And certainly the kangaroo court that I did not go to last summer was all about getting that headline. Okay. So it said,
explain, what was the headline? I know what the headline was. What was the headline?
Vaccine skeptic doctor. Put in my age, didn't they?
Yeah.
Why did they do that? That was just mean, wasn't it?
They did what, sorry?
They put my age in. That was just mean. Struck off for COVID misinformation.
There you go.
That was it. And that's what they wanted. I didn't go. I heard from a doctor who did go. And she had gone to find out how it works so she could help other doctors going through the process. I hadn't asked anyone to go for me or anything.
Dude, sorry, can I quickly read out what it actually said? So Daily Mail, the propaganda outlet that normally does smears on all the doctors, you know.
I've had a couple in the mail, yeah.
Yeah, so all the doctors, you know, the Daily Mail loves their little hit piece on them. So vaccine skeptic GP 44 who claimed masks do nothing and spread misinformation about coronavirus on social media is struck off. A family GP who claims masks do nothing and spread misinformation about COVID-19 on social media was struck off after his scaremongering views provoked a string of complaints from patients. Dr. Sam White claimed that the virus was planned and orchestrated by pharmaceutical companies, along with tech tycoons Bill Gates and Elon Musk, and called the COVID jabs a heinous crime. The 44-year-old who released a video announcing his own resignation declared that the truth behind the vaccine for the virus needed to be exposed as it was a biblical fight between good and evil. And you should get an award for this. You were 100% right.
Yeah.
Dude, like, where's the misinformation? So I'm sorry, I'm waiting for the misinformation.
Do you remember me contacting you a few weeks afterwards? Because that same journalist, I believe it was him, was asking for victims to come forward. Do you remember?
Yes. Unbelievable.
And I said, you know, the victims and their vulnerability just be careful here. I don't think they've got your best interests at heart. He didn't write anything factually inaccurate about me. He wrote, I think they'd added a smear in where they'd hacked my website a few years before, which you can see from the YouTube that it didn't even happen. But he wrote about this court process, this internal tribunal, not a court, that you think of, because I did go to the High Court in 2021, which I won. GMC don't care about that because they're going to hold their little internal one.
Yeah.
And they're going to keep bashing away at you. So this is 3-4 years later. And they spent 3 weeks, I'm told, 2-3 weeks watching my interviews back. That was their evidence against me.
Unbelievable. Well, I just want to quickly say something about the comments I'm putting up on the screen share.
Have they not erased those yet?
500 plus comments, right? Well done, the doctor, for telling the truth. But masks don't do anything, not unless you want to wear FFP3 respirators anyway. I'm also a doctor. Denise, those who stuck to the truth about men and women have been shown to be right. Your time will come, doctor. William, read Dissolving Illusions by Suzanne Humphreys. Next, history will prove that he was mostly right. I think they meant you're right. Moz, if the vaccines don't work, how come we're all allowed out then? Oh, allowed out. I don't know which one that means. Good on you for staying true to yourself and speaking the truth. So, yeah, the comments, dude, a lot of them, bravo to him for not being a sellout to the current agenda. He is a hero and very brave for upholding his medical oath to do no harm. Goes on and on and on, mate. So what I'm trying to say is the comments are pretty damning. If the Daily Mail wanted to disgrace you, I think most people can see the truth. But I think the whole point of that headline is, you're disgraced, you're skeptic, you're misinformation spreader, you're a bad person. That's the kind of feel of it that they want to generate. Yeah. And then the whole point of the GMC is to say you were struck off. And I don't know about you, but most doctors are terrified of losing their license.
I didn't have my license. I'd asked to be removed 3 years earlier.
What?
Yeah.
But you were struck off.
Yeah.
They don't but this is the whole point. They don't let you off the hook because that's the power they have over you. They can say, we struck you off. And you're like, well, I don't give a...
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter. We struck you off. And then the newspaper says, he was struck off. It's a terrible thing. And you're like, yeah, but I don't give a shit. Jane Donohan was the same. She's like, I don't give a shit.
No.
And Sarah Myhill, they won't let her get off the registration, even though she keeps saying, and her case, court cases, the GMC are saying, look, why don't you lie and just say that we were right, even though you disagree with us. But if you do that, then we'll let you off the hook. And she's like, you want me to lie?
Yeah.
Are you hearing what you're saying?
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to lie. You're wrong. I'm right. And then they're like, well, that shows a lack of remorse. So we're going to continue these suspension cycles until you admit we were right, even if it means you have to lie to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, and the whole point is for her to then eventually get struck off because they
No, I think they want to keep, I think the idea was, and the GMC apparently, this is what I was told because I wasn't there, had asked for me to be suspended.
Really?
Yeah, so they keep doing the cycle every 6 months, same as Sarah, same as they did for Jane Donovan for years.
So why
15 years?
So that's because every 6 months, guess what? They go, oh, the tribunal has decided to suspend this person again. So it keeps coming up in the news.
She hasn't worked for 25 years in the system. I didn't have my license because I didn't do my appraisal. Okay. And that's another funny thing. The guy that I'd just been go back to 2020, 2021, I'd just been revalidated because you have a 5-year revalidation cycle and it's signed off by some fancy officer that you never meet. The guy that signed me off 2 months later suspended me for when I went public with the video. It was the video that got them.
What did you say in the video?
Everything.
Tell me.
It was about 7 or 8 minutes. And I said masks don't work. Stop wearing them. The test is useless. But at that point, the CDC had issued a recall on them. They took 6 months to recall it, but there'd been a class 1 recall, right? So the vaccines are causing mass harm. I probably said at that point they weren't vaccines, and they, I took a swipe at everything, and then a few days, week or so later, I got a phone call. I got two phone calls. The first one, this senior clinical advisor wanted to know my thoughts on hydroxychloroquine and budesonide. As a senior clinical advisor for the NHS, she'd failed to notice that budesonide had already been included in the MHRA guidelines for the treatment of COVID a few months earlier. And of course, if you mention hydroxychloroquine, that meant you were a Trump fan, because Trump said back in 2020 that he was taking that. So you couldn't do that. So I just said, do your own research and send me, she'd phoned me, cold called me. So I said, send me an email from your NHS email. And then a couple of days later, I got a phone call from the same woman telling me that she was concerned for my welfare and that I was suspended by emergency order and I couldn't go to work. It was the first time they'd been concerned for my welfare.
So who contacted you?
It's a senior clinical, she was a GP, but she was a senior clinical advisor to the NHS. And then they do this pincer movement with the General Medical Council. Okay, so they run an investigation. The General Medical Council runs an investigation. They're coming at you from both sides, basically. I've recorded the second conversation because I was actually sat next to my dictaphone when she told me how concerned she was for my welfare. Basically, she was implying I was a lunatic. And what had happened was that sick note from a few months earlier saying stress and anxiety had been released to them by the practice manager.
They don't have any right to do that. It's confidential.
Yeah. So that's what my solicitor hit back with. Okay, it's confidential. But that had been sent to the NHS and the GMC. So they weaponized that to try as quickly as they could to go down the mental health route.
Bastards. But your video was bang on right. You're 100% right about everything.
It doesn't matter about being right. It doesn't matter if I'd gone to that tribunal, which was less than a year ago, with 1,000 peer-reviewed articles. It doesn't matter if I'd gone with the best doctors in the world. I mean, I had, back in the first kangaroo court in August 2021, it was 17th of August 2021, there was, an affidavit from Pierre Corey, Peter McCullough, all these people. That didn't matter. It was all about silencing and smearing me. So after that one, I was suspended, blocked from social media from posting anything, needed to delete any old posts about COVID.
Who do these people think they are?
Well, even the judge thought that in the Royal Courts of Justice. And that's why he overturned it. That didn't stop them.
So even the judge was on your side?
He seemed to be. And he ruled in my favour. And what I mean by that is that my barrister, this is in December 2021, probably spoke for 3 or 4 hours. GMC barrister, because they didn't have any evidence, but that doesn't matter, got about 45 minutes and kept getting interrupted by the judge. And the judge made the point, what if he changed his mind and said vaccines are brilliant? You've just said he can't say anything on social media about vaccines.
Yeah.
And then he even said, he's not telling them to drink bleach, He was actually really good, really fair. And his judgment was.
The problem is, it's so goddamn corrupt, the GMC. People don't realize how dangerous the GMC and the medical tribunal practitioner, whatever service is.
It's not independent.
It's not independent. It's complete kangaroo court. They're all linked to that place in Texas, the FSMB place, and the International Regulatory Medical Agency or whatever. They all have the same script. Do you know anything about this? I've done a podcast.
No, I knew they were both funded by the Department of Health, though.
So I've done a podcast with Bruce Dooley about this. So the Federation of State Medical Boards, FSMB, is situated in Texas. In the same building is the International Medical Association.
Wow.
And they have Zimbabwe Medical Association, Australian, New Zealand, Singapore, GMC, all linked. and they all go to the same annual meetings or twice annual meetings, and they all discuss like how they do everything, like how they regulate, and that's why all the doctors around the world were being treated the same way. Anonymous complaints, suspensions, kangaroo courts, struck off.
Yeah.
Same. Anonymous complaints. So, I just want to quickly read out something to you. So I wrote a piece, Substack, September 2024 about you.
That was hilarious. Bringing
the profession to disrepute.
I didn't read the actual judgment. I only read your version.
Did you?
Yeah. I didn't read. I'm not going to read this.
I said, today I read the Medical Practitioners Tribunal Service record of determination for Sam White, who, following their deliberations, erased him from the GMC. Hoo-hoo. And they're apparently independent. Bollocks to that. No, they're not. And the GMC is like extrajudicial things, a part of the Privy Council. Yeah. They sit outside of the law. They have their own kangaroo court. They decide what evidence you can present, what you can't present. They make up the rules on the go. It's a get out of jail card. The MPTS is not independent. They're paid or funded or linked. Same people work in the same place. The lawyers and barristers for your defense and the medical indemnity companies are having dinner and lunch with their lawyers.
They do, yeah.
They're all in it together.
I didn't have one of those though.
Good.
Because I didn't have the indemnity company that I paid thousands for over the years. So we're not covering you for social media.
Well, you're pretty lucky then, because they would have stitched you up big time.
Afterwards, my barrister, and all of them are company men, they're all registered with the bar. He said, I've never seen anything like that.
Yeah. So let me quickly read something. So I said, before I proceed, let me explain in plain English what the above rule actually, what the GMC actually does. I said, it's great at saying the right things and producing the guidance, but it makes sure that doctors are properly indoctrinated during medical school and serve big pharma by following protocols and guidelines. They make sure all applicants to the GMC have been properly vetted medical schools home and abroad, but it doesn't matter because they ensure that point 2 has been achieved, which is that they're all fully indoctrinated. That's the whole point of it. Have you been fully indoctrinated by a properly indoctrinated, medical school? And then, so they do issue good guidance, but they don't execute it themselves. And if a doctor dares to think for themselves or question the government or is a dissident, they make sure they get punished and excommunicated. Because remember, the biggest punishment of a cult is to be excommunicated. You know that, yeah?
Yeah, it's religion as well.
That's the ultimate form of censorship. But having been in a cult, I can tell you that's the case. So if you're in a cult, the biggest thing that they hold over your head is, we will banish you. And you're like, no, don't do that. So that's what doctors hate, being excommunicated from the GMC. And I said, look, at the end of the day, the GMC and the MPTS are as independent as my left hand is from my right. They are one big cozy club, an arm of the government and establishment. In essence, the GMC and MPTS often collude to produce a court held by a group of people to try someone regarded, especially without good evidence, as guilty of a crime or misdemeanor. In other words, a grand old kangaroo court. And I talked about their summary, and I said their short summary is blah, 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 bullshit, blah, blah. And then I went through their long summary, and I'm not going to bore people, but you can find it. But basically they were saying, Dr. Sam White, he has a right to freedom of expression. This right, according to Article 10, includes freedom to hold opinions and to receive and impart information and ideas without interference by public authority and regardless of frontiers. Okay, that sounds pretty good. But then it goes, but the exercise of these freedoms, according to Article 10, European Court of Human Rights, paragraph 2, it says it carries with it duties and responsibilities may be subject to some formalities and conditions and restrictions or even penalties as are prescribed by law and are necessary in a democratic society in the interests of national security, territorial integrity, or public safety, for the prevention of disorder or crime, for the protection of health or morals, for the protection of the reputation or right of others, for preventing the disclosure of information received in confidence, or for maintaining the authority and impartiality of judiciary, we can remove said Sam White's freedom of expression. It's like a nightmare. It's like, yeah, you've got all these rights, and then the moment you go, all right, okay, bye-bye, they go, hold on. According to this massive scroll of subclause Article B1C, blah, blah, blah. Actually, you don't have any rights or freedom of expression.
No.
That's what they just said.
Yeah.
And then the best thing was the kangaroo then court goes on to say, actually, it's all about maintaining the reputation of the medical profession.
Mm.
It's about, not only public health, but it's about maintaining the reputation of the profession. And I'm like, what? So basically what they say is, and it goes on, it's quite a detailed, actually, I can't believe I wrote such a detailed piece of work, actually. Holy moly. What I'm trying to say is, yeah, right, here we go. What they're basically saying is the GMC is there to protect the public health and the reputation of the medical profession, as if both are always the same thing together. When actually, to save and protect the public, you need to criticize the medical profession and call them into disrepute, which is what you did, right? You were trying to protect the public safety. And I don't believe in public safety anymore, or public health, because we're all individuals. But let's just use their language. To protect the public, you needed to say, by the way, doctors are not getting your informed consent. They're giving you a toxic jab that isn't tested and tried and is experimental and is harmful. And they're following guidelines and protocols, and they're now totally ideologically driven. So I'm warning you, be wary of my colleagues because they are dangerous and could harm you. That's actually the right thing for you to do. But the GMC is like, he's calling us all out. He's saying bad things about us. He's saying bad words about us. No, we need to punish him. And so what your case exemplifies is, yes, the GMC says we need to protect the public and the reputation of the profession. What they're really saying is protecting the profession has to be done at all costs, and damn with the public safety and health. If it's necessary, when it comes to the crunch, we have to protect the reputation of the profession. That cannot be damaged. That's what their judgment ruled, isn't it?
Yep.
In a nutshell.
Hi, me again. You're listening to the Doc Malik podcast. This show is 100% independent and fully funded by listeners like yourself. So if you wish to support Ahmed in all that he is doing, then please subscribe to his channel on Spotify or on his Substack, or simply buy him a coffee with one of the donation links which can be found at docmalik.com. Now, let's get back to the show.
In good medical practice, it talks about raising the alarm when you have concerns, right?
Yeah.
I thought that was quite a big thing. I thought I was doing the right thing. And there's also, as you know, on the statute books, the Public Interest Disclosure Act. That doesn't come into it. You don't have that right. Not if you're going against the grain, against the system. And speaking of how all of the regulators are integrated, it's funny you should say that, because a few weeks after that, I had a letter saying that I'd lost my opportunity to appeal their decision. Great. How many days they give you, 28 days. Wasn't going to do that anyway. I was just glad. But it said that they'd now informed regulators worldwide that I was a danger to the public, or some words to those effect. So if they're all sitting in the same office, and they can do that pretty quickly, there's me thinking they're sending out letters to Australia and New Zealand in case I try and get a job there.
No. It's all stitched up.
Yeah. And yeah, there's been, far more doctors have been struck off in Australia and New Zealand than here. I don't know if it's because there was more speaking up, because things seemed more draconian there.
I don't know.
Did it have to be more obvious to the medical profession here before anyone did anything?
Do you know there's 300,000 registered doctors?
Yeah.
How many have spoken out against COVID?
There's got to be at least 50,000 GPs on there.
Yeah, easily.
Yeah.
We're
a handful.
We're quite a small number, aren't we?
It is a handful.
Even that in itself just goes to show you that there's something wrong here. Because the natural laws of probability and all that kind of stuff, like there would have been a number of people just dissenting or disagreeing. Like, I mean, look, you know, you get 10 people in, you always have different opinions. You get 100 people, you get a lot of different opinions. You get 300,000 doctors, and pretty much all of them are just quiet or towing the line. Either they actually are all brainwashed, or they're too scared to say something.
I think it's the former.
And I don't think that's a good option. Either of them is not a good option.
No, but I think it's the former. I think the medical education, the postgraduate training has been so denigrated over the years to be protocol driven that the point in time where we are now, it's not that headline scared lots of other doctors into speaking out, because it was already 2024. It was already too late anyway. If more and more did speak out, because a lot of people might have had jabs and boosters by then, or died, or worse, injured. Look at they're completely obfuscating from their mind's eye what is even shown on the yellow card system, what's shown on the VAERS system, what's shown on Eurovigilance. They've not even checked that. And that's fractional of what's happened overall. They must have, that's why I ask about GPs, they must have these people coming into them with these bizarre neurological conditions. Well, these young chaps, I mean, you've heard Matt Letitia talk about, you know, what's happening on the football pitches. We've all seen that, right? So they've just blanked it out. And part of it might well be that they've fallen for it as well. Because as I said, the people that I was working with, 3-4 other doctors, they all were first in line to get theirs.
Dude, you saw the Facebook profiles with the rainbow badge. I've been vaccinated. I stand by
I'm
Ukraine.
saving Granny. Yeah.
LGBTQ plus vaccinated, boosted 10 times. The fuck?
Yeah.
Sukrit Bhakti claims that the damage is done now.
Yeah.
He goes like, it's too much.
Yeah.
Like,
it's your immune system's overwhelmed.
no, not just that. It's hit their brain so badly. They're just brain dead now. He goes like, they're just, people aren't people anymore.
Is he talking
Isn't that
about,
scary?
Is he talking more along the Professor Desmet kind of mass formation?
No,
or is he
no.
talking spongiform and
He's
encephalopathy?
talking about the vaccine and the damage. Like if you read,
prion disease, basically.
yeah, if you listen to Indoctrinated Brain, Dr. Michael Niels, he was on my podcast. He talks about how the spike protein from the vaccine goes across the blood-brain barrier, causes all this neuroinflammation, and it's just totally messed with people's heads. And
I'm going to ask you something really wacky, see what you think.
Yeah.
Do you think it's affected people's behavior? Personality?
I don't know.
I think it might have done.
I just feel like,
We know it crosses the blood-brain barrier.
yeah.
We know it's going to cause inflammation. Okay. So is it going to interact with neurotransmitters? The synthesis of, the breakdown of, potentially.
Yeah.
A lot of young women, I noticed in the early days, when the young men were getting the inflammatory heart disease, they were getting more functional neurological symptoms.
They're also getting menstrual irregularities.
Massively.
Massive. It was like huge.
I mean, that was even raised in
heavy
House of
bleeding,
Commons.
stopped their periods, this and that. Like so much was going on.
That was even raised in the Commons. So it must be big when you've those guys are mentioning it. Those clowns are bringing it up.
You don't like politicians?
Not a big fan. I met one. Thinking, we met Sir Graham Brady, didn't we? In September 2021. Then I guess he still is. I don't check in. Head of the 1922 committee. And I remember I didn't get a chance to say much, but Peter McCullough was online. Dolores Cahill ripped him a new one, basically, about what was happening. He wasn't surprised. There was no shock in his face. And then it was leaked to the papers a few days later that Sir Graham Brady had met with a few dozen anti-vaxxers. Sort of set up.
It's all set up.
Yeah.
So, okay. I think one of the things that's really important is that if there are any doctors out there disillusioned, fed up with the system, the idea of like leaving medicine is, it's like, oh my God, I can't do that. People don't realize what it's like to be in the cult. I mean, as a general practitioner, you're slightly different. You're not actually working directly for the NHS. You're not an NHS employee. You're a business person.
You're only customer.
Yeah.
The NHS.
Exactly. But I was an NHS employee, and I can tell you when I decided to leave, this is before COVID, it was a huge decision. I ruminated over it and worried about it for a year. And then when I did, and I was like, you take this plunge and you think, am I just going to fall in this abyss? And then you go, oh, it's quite good here.
Yeah.
And then you go, oh shit, I should have done this earlier. Like, what I'm trying to say is like, when you're in the NHS, it has such a grip on you, and then on a wider field, the doctors feel like medicine is the only thing they know, it's the only skill set they have, and if they leave it and they end it and hand in their resignation, the world is going to collapse. It doesn't, though, does it? Please, can you tell people like you're flourishing, you're doing well, you look happy, you got a nice car, you're doing good work in this world.
It's the same car I had when I was a GP.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like, you're not destitute. You're not starving.
That was the idea, though.
That was the idea.
The idea was to bankrupt me and for me to top myself.
100%, I bet that was.
Okay, and I'm not saying that there haven't been dark moments, or for anyone thinking of jumping ship, that it's necessarily easy. But I think you need to look to the future. And the future is that there are increasing numbers of members of the public who are waking up and aware of what's happened, even if it's only an inkling. And they are not going to go back to the GP that caused the problem or the physician that caused the problem. They're going to look elsewhere, like you did when you were, on the brink with, fatty liver disease, type 2 diabetes, metabolic syndrome.
Yeah, exactly.
We call it.
Exactly. Yeah? That's what I had.
You're not going to go to a GP to reverse that. You would go to a functional doctor or a naturopath to reverse the effects of that and to not be on those medications with all the bulking agents and the fillers and everything that comes with it and the side effects. Okay. And the growth in natural medicine, natural health is going to be explosive over the next decade. And I saw that in 2020 because I said trust is never, ever coming back after this. Okay. And when I say that now, even in 2025, we haven't hit that critical juncture, that mass awakening where it's realized what's been done to children. Because I think people were okay with, the elderly were locked in care homes. There was an overusage of midazolam, which is now going through the sort of judicial process, so to speak, with a test case. But when it comes to children, that's where people draw the line. And people gave this to their children, again, not for health reasons. Children were never at risk, not healthy children. Okay. Even if there was SARS-CoV-2, which leads to a disease called COVID, there's never been that. That's another rabbit hole, of course. But when there's that realization of what's happened to children, potentially that their lifespan may be being shortened, or fertility, or all the other, I don't really even want to talk about it, to be honest. That's going to be a critical juncture for the country, for the world, where these things were inflicted. We haven't hit that point.
I'm not that hopeful.
It's not hope. It's not hope.
No, as in like people will wake up and people will fight for their children, and I don't think they will. I think this is what I mean. I think
there's going to be anger, though.
I don't know if there will be.
Really?
I don't see any anger. I don't see any fire in people's belly. People. This is what I mean by people are NPCs. People are zombies. People are just consuming their junk food and eating their crisps and their chips and drinking their beer and watching TV and going on their next holiday. They don't care. There's not that many people. There's that spark of divinity is not there. That do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I do.
Dude, like
maybe that's why we haven't hit it.
250,000 children, babies are aborted every year.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying I'm 100% against every abortion. Like, but there's a medical reason, a mother's life is at stake. Yeah. But this idea of it's my, body, my child. No, it's your body, but there's another body within you, right?
Yeah.
That's not your body. That's a baby. That's a life.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it's women's fault. It's men's fault. Men having sex with women and then buggering off and not being around and not taking responsibility. And it's societal. It's a cultural thing. It's this idea that you can have sex and if there's an inconvenience, just kill the life. That's this disposable society that we're in, where even a life is disposable. It's an inconvenience where we don't look after the unborn child and say, look, actually, don't worry. If you can't deal with it, we'll support you. We'll help you. We'll be there for you. A society is judged by how you take care of the vulnerable.
Yeah.
No one's more vulnerable than someone in the womb.
No.
Right? They don't have a voice. They don't have a say. And we're culling 250,000 every year, 1 million in America. Right? And and those babies are then harvested. Did you know that? They get sent off for experimentation work in food industry, tasting, vaccine development, cosmetics. They're actually then also used to make vaccines and medicines and stem cell treatments and cartilage implantation. Did you know this? These babies aren't just like put in a little cremation. They're used and harvested. It's freaking child sacrifice on an industrial scale like never before seen in human history. Where's the uproar? 250,000 a year. Dude, where? No one's gonna come. No one's gonna speak up. No one's got this fire in their belly. So you know what?
I'd love to argue with you on that point. But there isn't one.
There isn't. And Matt Sco, the director of Died Suddenly and The Final Days, don't know if you've ever heard of him, like a brilliant filmmaker. He said it comes to a point, at a point, it's like, do you know what? We deserve what is happening to us.
Because we consented.
Because we've consented to it. Because we've stayed quiet. Because we've not done anything about it. We give these people the power. And that's why, we need to talk like this. But, sometimes you think, am I just speaking to the choir? Like the people who listen to this podcast and you?
No, I've seen you take apart a few people on your podcast.
Yeah, I'm talking about the listenership. But people do say to me like, oh, I'm listening to your podcast. Oh, I saw a short clip of yours on Instagram or this and that. Oh, my dad, like this little kid here. Like, there's a couple of kids over doing play dates with my kids. And she's a tiny little girl. She's like 8. She goes, oh, I saw a video of you on Instagram. My dad showed me. I was like, really? I didn't know he was a big. Like, she was like, yeah. He was like, look at this. Look at Doc Malik. It's really important. He's saying good stuff. And I was like, oh, wow. Yeah. So, like, some people say to me, oh, you're just preaching to the choir. I'm like, do you know what? Even if I am good, because I don't know about you, but I felt quite lonely at one point. Like, I was the only person in the world who felt like this. And part of the reason to do this podcast, like, people said to me, oh, you need to tone down a bit and you need to be a bit more acceptable to the wider audience. You'll never grow. And I was like, you don't get it. I'm doing this for my tribe. I want to give strength to my tribe. I want people listening across the world to fist pump and go, yeah, damn it, right, you go for it, dog. That's exactly how we feel. So that, and people around the world, if you're feeling lonely, you don't feel lonely anymore. You know that you're part of a tribe, and there's actually tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of us out there who don't believe this lie and don't believe the garbage that's all around us and are questioning everything. That's my primary audience. But I genuinely think it's dripping through. Like, people are hearing. But do you know what? It can't be a drip. It needs to be a flood.
Yeah.
This is the problem. It's not a flood. Like, if we want to turn the ship around and have this massive course correction, we need a tsunami of awakening. And right now, I feel it's like a drip of awakening. I
think I did a subscriber update a couple of weeks ago saying I can't believe we're still here. Because when I spoke out, I thought, well, this will be over soon. Surely, maybe I overestimated my own powers somewhat. But most of my patients that come to me, they have that experience of actually feeling lonely. And I have to say to them, you're not, because the next person I'm going to get on a call with and the one after that is going to say the same thing. So what you are doing is joining those people up together and building a community, which has been lost.
Absolutely. And I think I just want to take a few minutes. Like, people like you and I need to be supported, right? because there's not many of us in the trenches. Like literally, not very many.
No, we're not well armed.
We're not like pitchforks.
There's no army behind us.
Like literally, there's like across the battlefield, you've got Terminators coming with lasers in each arm going. And we've got like single shot rifles.
Yeah,
like a air rifle.
It is a lonely journey. And it has been for me at times, particularly. But then I'll hear people say, "Oh, that person's heard of you because you did this," and they're really grateful. Okay. I just wish more people would find their feet and their confidence to speak up as well. I don't know. And people often say, "I'm not a doctor, therefore I can't say anything." Yes, you can.
It's actually a good thing you're not a doctor.
It's a good thing you're not a doctor because they're gone. They are the lost generation. Okay, in every way.
Scary.
And they have lost the trust of the public. GMC can come to their rescue and protect their integrity by protecting them from these horrible doctors like you and I, okay, by writing smear stories or whatever they want. But people, that's not going to protect them at the end of the day.
So tell me something. How many people did you kill?
I don't think I do.
How many people did you maim? How many people did you cripple?
Yeah.
Like, tell me, how many? None.
Yeah.
Right.
There's going to be a number for each doctor.
Yeah, exactly. No, but I'll give an example of the hypocrisy. Mohammed Adil's recently just started his own Substack. It's called Dissident Surgeon. Check it out, people. He's written an article about this professor at King's College Hospital, a pediatrician, I think. A child under his care died of sepsis, and they weren't transferred to the pediatric intensive care unit quickly enough. And it shows you the failings of the case. He writes about it, complete dereliction of like what they should have been doing. And I went for the GMC and everything. And they said, like, fell short of the care, blah, blah, blah. Requires something like that. Something along those lines. But, we're not suspending him or striking him off. He's going to carry on practicing because he will do more good by carrying on practicing. Right? He's protected.
He's aligned.
He's aligned.
He's aligned to the agenda.
So this is what I'm trying to say. So someone died. I'm not saying he killed that person. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying someone died. A patient died. A child died. And he got like a little slap on his wrist. There's been cases where I'm sure I've read of like doctors sexually abusing people or taking advantage of them in the practice and going through the GMC and getting a little 3 months of suspension or 6 months, and then they go back in practice. Right? Like you didn't kill anyone. You didn't defraud anyone. You didn't scam anyone. You didn't sexually abuse anyone. You basically spoke the truth.
But I didn't agree to go to a Reformation camp.
Exactly.
That's what they want.
You didn't go to the Reformation camp. You didn't agree to get brainwashed and lie to yourself and the public. And because of that, you got struck off. You got erased. I mean, if that doesn't show you the complete bullshit of the system, I don't know what does. And that's why I think it's important. Like, I told this American patient, he did a consult with me and he was asking about functional medicine doctors or natural doctors. I said, Dr. Sam White, and I gave him your website details and stuff. And I think it's very important that people tap into your knowledge. Like, if they want to get healthy, really know what it means to be healthy.
Yeah.
And like, because you'd offer, I think there's a win-win situation. There's enough for everyone. People are like, oh, like, I would never promote someone else, like, because I do a consultation service, but mine's is very different. Like, I'm acting like a health advocate. I don't want to be seeing patients every week or even more than once. Like, I give them all the knowledge and information, whether it's how to give informed consent for surgery or prepare for surgery or recover from it or get a second opinion or describe from your meds or, who to see and what to do and navigate the system. I mean, like, I had one patient say, tell me what restaurants you go to. I have lots of different types of conversations, but I think I'm doing something very different from you. And even if I was doing the same thing as you as a functional medicine doctor, I'd still tell people, go see Sam White. Because I think that's what it's all about. I don't believe in scarcity. I believe in win-win. That, what, you benefiting means I benefit. Because we are showing people there's a different way. And that, what, you can be healthy and you don't need to be in the sick care system. So, guys, if you want to like turn around your allergies and your autoimmune conditions and you don't like the sound of me, listen, definitely think about Sam White. So where can they find you?
.samwhite.com.
That simple.
That's it, yeah. It's all on there. I've got a question for you though.
Yeah, fire away.
We were talking about just now about what might be a tipping point, what might really turn the ship, the flood. Do you think it was really different for Andy Wakefield back in the late 90s? Because I can't imagine the hell he went through.
I think it was very difficult for him. I think
Because he would have no support.
he had no support. It was, again, the hit pieces on him, left, right, and centre. I think it was a very lonely, difficult journey for him.
Mm.
So I think in that respect, one of the brilliant things about COVID is
It was so obvious.
it's so obvious, and it has awakened, a lot of people like me, like you, I'm sure, like not just to vaccines. Yeah, and the public, not just the vaccines, but things like, we can talk about Bank of International Settlements. We can talk about chemtrails. We can talk about the central bankers and Jekyll Island and the whole scam of the Federal Reserve. And, we can talk about all this stuff and people know what we're talking about. Fiat money. And before, people would have been like, what are you talking about? Like, so much is now out there we can talk about. Without being labeled a complete crazy person. We're like saying, look, so much has been lied to us. Like, what else is a lie? And the truth is pretty much everything.
Yeah.
Pretty much everything at this point is a lie. Okay. So I think that's a really good thing. But I think it's going to get worse. I think humanity's been here before. Like, the Reformation, the time of Martin Luther, that was an awful time. The 30 Years' War in Europe. Like, dude, a lot of people died. Like and I think the evil people do this deliberately. They create these culling events, these sacrificial events, and reset moments. This is just another reset moment.
As long as they've told you,
yeah,
the karma doesn't happen to them. They do believe in karma, but so long as they've told you that you're too stupid, as they see us, to not get it, that's on us. It's not on them.
If you're going to act and behave like a sheep, you get treated like a sheep.
Yeah.
And then what happens to sheep? They get
slaughtered.
Mm-hmm. It's that simple.
Yeah.
And it's funny, like, a sheepdog doesn't eat sheep. Sheepdog protects sheep, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Herds them in a pen and protects them, watches out for wolves and foxes and whatnot. The public, the sheep, they see us as wolves. They don't realize that we're actually there to help them and protect them.
Yeah. I got to think that's going to change.
I think
it's a different. That's why I brought up the late 90s, because there wouldn't have been the internet so much then.
No.
And you remember, and talking about what we learned at med school, what we did learn at med school was what a bad, evil man Andrew Wakefield was. Do you remember?
Oh God, yeah, he was a boogeyman.
Yeah.
Did I remember that? Yeah, of course I remember that. Absolutely.
He was used as a case in point. I think it is different now because this was so obvious. But there is, as Matthias Desmet says, a significant, probably a majority of the population that are still in that mass formation. They may never come out.
Yeah.
And we may have to realize that, and there be some sort of separation of humanity. I don't know how that works, but
yeah, especially with all this transhumanism business, it's definitely happening. By the way, all this nanotech and everything, and they talk about it openly. It's not like, dude, it's
published. Right?
This is watch the film, The Final Days. It's all there. It uses one of the reasons why I think Matt is so good at his movies. Like, it's not like, if you sat down with someone in the pub and within the first sentence said they want to make us half machine and controls forever and blah blah, you'd be like, you're a crazy person. But Matt takes you on this journey of an hour and a half. And he uses video clips of the people speaking with their own tongues and mouths, saying what the agenda is. And it's like, you can't argue with it. Like, it's not hearsay. It's not your opinion. It's not my opinion. It's not what they think. It's literally what Bill Gates is saying, or Johan Harari, or Klaus Schwab, or Musk, or all the politicians. You hear them say it, what they want. And they're anti-human. They want to depopulate. And they want to make us these human cyborgs, and they want to control us forever. And they're sick.
Yeah.
And they're the ones that are the quacks, not us.
Yeah.
They're the crazy people. And the reality is, we're not conspiracy theorists. We're conspiracy factists,
Analysts, at least.
Conspiracy analysts. Like, we're not theorists. We're not some crazy people. Like we're, very calm, very rational, very objective.
Mm-hmm.
We analyze everything, and we've got this pesky problem of asking questions
Mm.
and having some critical thinking capability. And, I was part of this Facebook group that my wife got me onto at one point, trying to convince me to take the shots. And, I'm not going to mention their name. I think I don't want to get my wife into trouble, but it's a very big group, okay? And it's meant to be anonymous and private and blah, blah, blah. But it's a clown show. Yeah. All the doctors reveal themselves for who they are. There's no thinking capacity. I mean, you've got grown-ups just doing silly toilet humor, dick jokes and boob jokes, and it's just ridiculous, and completely vilifying anyone who questions vaccines or mainstream narratives. They're all ideologically bought into the cult of medicine, and they're brain dead. Like, I mean, seriously, they're brain dead. I had a friend, Ian McDermott, is a knee surgeon, comment on it. Yeah. And he sent me all these screenshots and the responses to his very rational questions, like, this vaccine's been withdrawn in this country, like it's not safe anymore. Like, the pile on hate and comments, and it'd be like, oh well, if you look at his profile picture, it's no wonder he's commenting like that. That was the comeback.
How basic.
That's how basic the level of. And these are our doctors, our consultants, our specialists. It's actually terrifying. This is what the public needs to be aware of. We need to warn the public how dangerous the medical profession is, because they're indoctrinated. And I'm not saying every doctor is evil and terrible and bad. There are a lot of really good, well-intentioned people in the system, but they are so ideologically brainwashed and captured. It's shocking and scary. I also know a lot of doctors who want to get out of the system but just don't know how to, or biding their time, trying to make arrangements so they can get out. Sad state of affairs. And now you've got physician associates, anesthetic associates, and again, I'm not upset about the death of the medical profession, because you know what? I try to warn everybody, and they dug their hole, they climbed in and started digging the soil in over themselves. And while I'm saying, get out, they laughed at me and swore at me and took the piss out of me. And it's like, well, okay, fine. You dug your grave, you climbed into it. Good luck.
Well, doctors have been my biggest enemy. The greatest support I've had has been from the general public.
There you go.
By and large.
How many doctors do you think reached out to me after I left the profession?
Well, I can tell you how many happened to me.
How many reached out to you?
A couple of friends I now refer to as acquaintances, who I thought perhaps would be friends for life from medical school. After my initial public interest disclosure letter was released on the 2nd of July 2021, told me to rein my neck in and get my lawyer to withdraw it because it was going all around Twitter. It was going viral on Twitter. That was it. That was the last I heard.
I had one colleague who I regularly worked with reach out to me. I had some doctors reach out to me, but they were like from the Awake movement and, I didn't know
different
them.
Countries.
Different countries. I hadn't met anyone, maybe just on the same WhatsApp group. Stuff like that. I had a few, but the people that I worked with, people that I had known for 20 years plus, one person reached out to me.
Yeah.
What the heck?
Other than to rein my neck in, it was zero for me.
There you go.
Yeah.
Crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Dude, can you come back on my show?
Of course.
You don't need to drive down. It's a long drive. Next time, you do me a favor.
It was all right, actually.
Really?
Yeah, there's a lot of roundabouts because to the lovely Basingstoke.
Yeah, that's not me, though. That's not my...
No, it's not your fault, no.
It's not my neck of the woods.
It's a bit of a way.
So have you got a girlfriend yet?
No.
Oh, for God's sake.
No. I mean, to be fair, if I'd been married or engaged or had a girlfriend, I mean, it could have gone either way.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen patients. I've had people book in with me just because they didn't know what to do in their relationship, and they're asking me.
Yeah, I know.
Brilliant. People have divorced over this.
Dude, we were close to it. You're going to meet my wife now.
Yeah.
Like, she's fully on board, but it was close.
She's not going to clobber me, is she? Or is she in the same team now?
She's totally awake.
Yeah.
Totally awake.
So, no, I haven't actually had the, no, I haven't. I've been single a little while. I was seeing someone, but, that was a while ago now.
Everyone listening, he's on the market. Right, listen.
Can you sound straight, please? That'd be another rumor, wouldn't it?
You're not straight.
I am. Yeah.
So when did you come out?
Fuck off.
So listen, you're on your deathbed,
Yeah.
right? Surrounded by your loved ones, your boyfriend, and like
that's gonna be in the mail tomorrow.
before you pass on and meet your maker.
Yeah.
What words of wisdom and advice would you give everyone?
Just don't follow the crowd.
Speak up and say it louder.
Don't follow the crowd. However easy it is, I don't think in the long run it is the easiest path. Take my example. Okay. There's been times when this last few years have been shit. You said to me, when I last saw you, you didn't look too great. Fair enough.
Sorry, that was a very rude thing to say, but I mean it. I'm being honest.
Hurt my feelings.
Sorry, I can tell. You welled up for a second. But you know I was right, though. Like,
Yeah, you hit a chord, yeah. But the reality is, if you flip that, I could be waking up every day now thinking or realizing that I've been involved in this. How many people have I injured? How many people have I killed? That would be my reality. So although my journey's not been easy and there's been painful and it's been lonely at times, let's say, there was only one path. And that opened up for me in 2020. And that was a tap on the shoulder saying, this is not going to be good enough to just say, you were literally just following your orders here. Because that's what's happened. And waking up now in 2025, I can wake up and not think for when I first open my eyes in the morning, how many people have I hurt? How many people have I killed? One person even said to me, a friend, in that short 8-minute video, you might have saved more lives. I never thought about this before, but she said, you might have saved more lives in that short 8-minute video than you did in the 17 years previous as a doctor. That's quite a powerful thing.
yeah.
And she might be right. Because it went viral. That's what got me in trouble. So it was over 1 million views within a few days. So
Don't be alone, by the way. That's one of the things that might have been difficult for you because you didn't have that support network. I
was early on.
That's what I mean. You're very early.
You don't get points for being early in this game.
Exactly. You're right at the bat, and you didn't have anyone. I just want to say a shout out to people like Rachel Brown.
Yeah, I love Rachel. Yeah.
Oh, she's amazing.
Yeah.
Anybody want an amazing awake anesthetist? Psychiatrist?
Yeah.
Sorry, Rachel. Rachel Brown, amazing psychiatrist. Karam is the anesthetist. I was thinking he's amazing. I love him so much. He's like a little nephew of mine. Ian McDermott's wonderful. He's been a great friend, great support to me. Sarah Myhill's been amazing.
Yeah, Sarah's.
Natasha Campbell McBride, Jerry Waters, Anne McCloskey, Jane Donahan. All good people. Really, really good people. And then abroad, because
you're part of the Lighthouse crew now, aren't you?
Yeah. So Billy Big Balls Bays, he's amazing.
Roz as well, who run that group.
She's fantastic.
Yeah. She was struck off as a psychologist.
Right. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I need to get on my podcast actually. And then there's other people like Ursula Edgington and Justin, her husband. They're amazing in New Zealand. The support they've been giving. Mark in Santa Monica, Hal from the States. They're just amazing people who've just been there to talk to and support you. And there's so many more people can't remember, like countless people who've given me the support.
It is global though, isn't it?
It's global. And
you have to go global.
It's global. I'm telling you right now, I used to say to my kids when I was like 5 years ago, like, look, I've only got 2-3 friends. It doesn't matter if you don't have a lot. It's the quality that matters, right? And of those friends, like honestly, I'm only just speaking once every 6 months now. I've made so many new friends. I've got so many contacts around the world, people I talk to regularly, and they're amazing and it's beautiful. And I don't want you to feel like you're alone because you're not. Dude, I'm always here for you. Pick up the phone, talk to me whenever you like. I mean,
well, you have been already. This is the first time we've met.
But you need to meet more often. We need to do stuff together.
Yeah, you're not actually that far away, so it's cool.
I know. Should we go and eat now?
I'm quite hungry. My belly's rumbling. Hopefully this microphone's not that great.
So it's paratha with chickpea and a beef curry.
Sounds fantastic.
Does that sound all right? I hope it's nice.
Mm.
God, I hope
So do I.
If not, we can get takeout. Right, everyone listening, thank you so much. And Sam, thank you so much for coming. Honestly, it feels like I'm just meeting an old friend.
Yeah, it does. Been a nice chat.
It's crazy that this is the first time we've been in physical same space.
Yeah.
It's insane. I can't get over that. And everyone, check out Sam, his website. You know what? If you want to turn your health around, reach out to him. Because if anybody knows, it's Sam. And the thing is, sometimes you need to be sick yourself. You need to go through stress yourself. You need to have problems yourself to understand what it's actually like to be a patient. And I think I've really taken that on board. You know, I've had surgeries, I've had the metabolic problems, I've had the stress as well, and I've had difficult marriages. And actually, that has now given me a view of life where I can help people in a way that, you know, I could never really have helped before. And I think that goes with you. Like, even everything you've been through in the last 5 years, I can see right now you're glowing. You know, you're living your authentic self. Like,
almost every functional doctor has the story of being unwell.
do you see what I mean?
Mm.
Yeah. All right, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this. Finally got to speak to Sam White. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thanks so much, mate.
I, Ahmed Malik, am a private civilian protected by the Geneva Convention. My Substack, social media posts and podcasts are my personal experiences, observations and opinions. This information is for educational purposes only. Although I am a doctor, I am not your doctor, and I am not providing medical or legal advice to you or to the wider public. I am not licensed or registered with the GMC or any other licensing board. The responsibility for the interpretation, due diligence and use of the information from my Substack and my podcast lies with you, the viewer and or listener. Please do your research and use your discernment. It is not my intention to harass, intimidate, offend, defame, conspire, blackmail, coerce, or cause anxiety, alarm, or distress to any man or woman, and the information presented here is done so with peaceful and honourable intentions. Enjoy, folks.